What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Better Biomed. Folks, today I'm going to show you guys the most likely way to encourage your leadership to grant you training. All right, it's going to require work on your end. Don't ever think that you can just get something for nothing. Usually you have to prove it. And if you make it easy on your boss, he can prove it to his boss. We all have a boss someplace, right? When it comes to program changes, like taking something in house that might have been under a full service contract, there are certain things that are going to be niceties, like the fact that you can get there and possibly make the machine functional again much quicker, right? So, downtime. The other thing is technician on site familiarity with the device because technicians are there also to help educate staff in case they're doing something wrong. The more you know about a device, the more likely you are to be able to help them out. Thirdly, maybe this could justify an extra FTE. There's lots of reasons why you might want an extra FTE. One of them might be on call. I mean, if there's only 2 FTEs in your facility, it's going to be pretty stressful being on call all the time. But if you can add an extra FTE by finding things to take in-house, like, let's say, anesthesia machines, that's going to be our example today. Well, if you can find a justification for getting an extra technician by saving them money, decreasing downtime, well, then that's an extra person to help out because it's like a bowl of sand. The more kernels of sand that are in there, pull a handful out because things happen. You know, people retire, pass away, leave, go to another job, whatever. The more people, the more grains of sand in that bowl, the easier it is for the entire hospital. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what you need to do if you want to get training. Okay, first off, you need to consider your 5-year plan. Okay, I talk about this on this channel all the time. A 5-year plan. What's your 5-year plan? Well, you should have a 5-year plan of what you, as a technician, want to do in 5 years. And don't just blatantly say, like, I want to start out and I want to go to imaging. I want to do imaging. Okay, I get it. A lot of people want to go to imaging, and it is the golden goose. But the likelihood of you getting an imaging position compared to other people is maybe debatable. All right, so always have something else. It's like the people that want to be an athlete their entire life. You know, there's only like 1% that get selected. So what's your realistic 5-year plan? Your 10-year plan, sure, imaging, right? 5-year plan. What are you going to do while you're building up experience as a technician? Well, you need to come up with a list of items that you as a technician are willing to work on. And that could be something that you work on the rest of your career. So this is kind of a tough decision. Now, I personally have avoided things like ventilators and anesthesia my entire career. And that's right, guys. I worked in the operating room for close to 19, 20 years. And I did not formally work on anesthesia. It was only at the very end that that kind of training was forced on me. But that's because I was the person that always put out fires. And that means I was running around high tempo, high stress, and I was repairing things that nobody else wanted to repair. Now, when it comes to calibrating anesthesia machines, there's lots of people that can do that, okay? The fact of the matter is there's some jobs that only some people can do, and there's some jobs that other people can do. Maybe people that need more training to maybe make the next technician level. People that might have proven themselves in your shop already, okay? Think about those guys first, all right? So part of your 5-year plan, what is it? In this case example we're going to have here today, it's going to be anesthesia, all right? So if you want to do anesthesia, these are the steps that you're going to have to take, okay? Number 1 of your steps is inventory your assets. Figure out how many you're dealing with because obviously the more of these assets you have in your inventory that are currently under contract, the more likely it is that you are going to save them a heck of a lot of money by taking it in-house, okay? That is definitely one of the things. Make an inventory, all right? You need to also figure out what the contract price is. Get a quote if you don't have a quote already, or if your contract is coming up for renewal. That's a big one, guys, because when your contract's coming up for renewal, you as a department or as a facility, it's time to come to the big guy upstairs and start making some decisions, all right? And one of your decisions is whether or not you're going to take something in-house. So get a contract price. What's your updated contract price per asset? That's the important part. And you need to get your hands on the existing contract, okay? because there's certain things that aren't covered under contracts, like maybe repairs. It might only be a PM contract. So that means that it's extra money you're going to have to fork out, and you are not certified, nor are you knowledgeable in those devices if they're anesthesia, because you don't have training, right? So you have to pay extra for repairs. Think about that one. It could only be a PM contract. All right. So we are going to do a cost analysis of an inventory of anesthesia machines. Let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so here we go. I have over here a spreadsheet, and this is just one I made up with AI very quickly, just to show you guys what this kind of thing needs to look like when you're going to present it to your boss. So here's my list of 17 GE Avant CS2, and I have all their serial numbers here so that you can prove that they're all unique items. Okay, make sure that your inventory is accurate. This is going to be very important. Down here, you see I have a separate tab called Math. And in your Math tab is where you need to go, and you need to get a cost of training. Is the training even available? It might not be available. In this case, GE is a fantastic company for providing training. They're wonderful they've trained probably thousands of technicians, if not 100,000 technicians in their products. So their prices are pretty public, and let's say the Avant CS2, I think it was like $13,000 to train a technician. The other cost that you need to be well aware of is the travel cost, and I just kind of throw $2,000 up there. That's your airfare, the hotel, and I believe in the GE training course, food and stuff is incorporated, but I just say, let's say $2,000. Now that's an estimate. Don't underestimate that, because this could be what your department's budgeting on. So get a pretty reasonably accurate number. You get the number of devices. So in this case, the number of devices I had was 17. And the cost of the contract per device. And all I did is I did an ROI, and it's a pretty simple formula. Okay. And again, AI can help you with all this. The cost of the contract. So that is the cost per device times the quantity, and it's $42,500 per year. And in this case, for training, we have $13,000 plus the $2,000 in travel costs, which comes to $15,000 plus the technician salary. Okay, that's and I don't have a number there because the technician salary could be anything, right? Like I said, this could be somebody that is a Biomed 1. They've just kind of proven themselves, and you're looking for that thing that they need to move into. Give them some responsibility. In that case, the technician salary is not going to be that much. So up here, my ROI shows that I'm going to pay off that training in about 0.35 of a year. So let's take this down to 3 devices. So if I have 3 devices in my inventory, you can see it's going to take 2 years to pay it off. Now, the magic number usually is to have the ROI less than a year, okay? Obviously, the more items you have in your inventory, the easier it is to get a return on investment, the ROI. So in this case here, the cost of the contract is only $7,500. The cost of the training stays the same, right? So 3 devices, $7,500. If you only have 3, you might want to just go ahead and leave them under contract. Because if you only have 3 like anesthesia machines, it's not a big hospital, and you probably don't have that many technicians. So the amount of man hours, which I didn't include in this, that's why I add a whole nother technician salary, because it's a whole FTE, a full-time employee. So just something to be aware of. Okay, so the quantity of devices here, you can see that when I get up to around 6 devices, I now hit an ROI of 1 year. The magic number. And the more devices you have over that, the further down the ROI drops, which means in this case, consider this the risk for the medical facility. I'm paying off that training in a quarter of a year. And what I didn't take into account is many anesthesia machines have 2 PMs per year. Not to mention repairs. We already talked about that. All right. So 2 PMs per year, you're actually paying off the ROI a little bit faster. But this is an annual contract right here. So $2,500. I don't know if that's an actual number. It's pretty low. In reality, this cost, it could be $3,600. Okay, and that affects all our numbers. $3,600 per machine, 25 devices. That's $90,000 per year for that contract. Okay, but if we're training somebody, and let's say we're paying them 45,000 a year, 50 now let's say 60,000 a year. It's a kind of entry level, but hey, they're taking on anesthesia. So that's 60,000 plus the 15. You already see that we're at $75,000. Okay? I'm saving you $15,000 per in the first year alone. Okay? So that's how this works, guys. Now, what you need to do is then compile the cost of the contract for all your devices, the cost of the training plus travel, plus the technician, because if you have a lot of devices, it's going to take a full FTE. So compile that into a nice report and send that in an email or schedule a sit down time with your boss and unfold this right in front of them. Print it out, unfold it, and walk them through the numbers. And then you just tell them, this is what I would like to do. I would like to take this in-house. Our contract is ending within the next year because often contracts cover 2 or 3 years. All you got to do is tell them, hey, in 6 months, 9 months, our contract's ending. I would like this opportunity to go forth and take this in-house. And usually employers love that because you are saving money. We can't even compute the amount of downtime that we're saving because often in contracts, the response time is 24 to 48 hours. 24 to 48 hours. If you have an operating room that is completely down because you don't have an extra anesthesia machine, this is going to pay dividends, folks. So there you have it. If you want training, you got to put in the work. You got to get that contract cost. You got to find out the training cost. Go ahead and do some quotes on the travel. Like figure out how much the flights are, the lodging and everything. That's all kind of predictable. So go ahead and do that computation, present it to your boss, and try to keep that return on investment at less than a year. All right. Good luck, guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and write me at justin@betterbiomed.com. I will help you out in the best way possible. Thanks for watching, guys.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with what you'd like to see in future videos.